Welcome to our deep dive, everyone.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, it's all about the V86 action at Åby Bollnäs. That's for Wednesday, May 28th, 2025. Your goal, as we understand it, is to get a solid feel for each race, the likely winners, the main challengers, maybe find a couple of long shots based on what the different analyses are consistently saying. We've gone through quite a bit of material, so let's jump right in with V86-1 at Åby.
Okay, V86-1, it's 2,140 meters, auto start. Number 2, Format Kronos is, well, the name that comes up first is the favorite. There's definitely talk about the breeding, being a half-brother to Attraversiamo, and it does have a good record when it behaves, but some of the analysis flags it as maybe a slightly insecure favorite. There are hints it can be a bit fragile when the pressure's on.
Interesting. So the raw ability is there, but maybe a bit of a question mark mentally. Now, number 4, Magic Bourbon seems to be getting quite a bit of attention as a serious challenger.
Yes, absolutely. Reports say it finished really strongly last time out, clocked a very fast final split in, a pretty decent race. Suggests there might be more under the hood. The win percentage isn't huge so far, but there's this feeling, okay, it's right on the edge of putting it all together.
Right. And then number 6, Las Vegas Sisu. Sounds like there's some buzz around equipment changes.
Yeah, that's a big one. They talk about going Barfoda in front, maybe even adding a Juckervan, the lighter, sulky. Those kinds of changes often mean the trainer thinks there's a significant speed boost possible. It really points towards an intention to challenge for the lead.
Okay. And what about number 9, Lion Miras? Seems like a reliable type.
Lion Miras really stands out for just being consistently in the mix, often top 3. And it's versatile, too, can handle different race setups, which always helps.
We also saw mentions of Christopher Eriksson's stable being in good form lately. Could that give number 7, Galaxy Love DE, a bit of a lift?
It's definitely something to consider, yeah. When a whole stable is running well, sometimes horses can outperform expectations. Galaxy Love DE might just benefit from that rising tide.
And lastly, for this race, number 12, Memorial Fashion. Sounds like a bit more of a long shot.
Memorial Fashion clearly has speed, no doubt about that. The issue is consistency or reliability. Hasn't always put it together. But, starting from the back row in an auto start isn't always bad. Can keep them out of trouble early, maybe let them use that speed later. So, yeah, risky, but potentially rewarding if things go right.
Okay, let's move over to Bollnäs then for V86-2.
Right, V86-2. This is 2,140 meters, volt start, and it's for the mares. Number 10, Ertigan and Sohn, is the favorite. She's seen as having, top potential, but a common theme in the analysis is that tendency to gallop. That makes her a bit vulnerable, especially with some strong rivals in here.
Ah, okay, so that opens things up. Number 14, Asak Blomst, seems to be highlighted quite a bit as a key challenger.
Definitely. The sources really emphasize her natural speed. She's got a history of running well against good horses, too. There's a sense she might actually be a bit underrated here.
And with the volt start, number 3, Bekla Stilly comes into play, especially with equipment changes.
Yes, Bekla Stilly is interesting. Talk of going Barfoda all around for the first time. That can really improve grip and speed. If she gets away well from the front volt and manages to take the lead, she could be tough to catch.
And number 12, Troll Styrkvaccine, just solid and consistent.
Pretty much. Troll Styrkvaccine is recognized as, talented and reliable. Maybe not the flashiest speed, but she's usually right there. A good contender for a placing, at least.
And quickly, number 11, Erna Perla, coming off a win.
Yeah, won recently in Sweden, so clearly in good form. Different race, different challenges here, but, winning form is always a positive sign.
Okay, back to Åby for V86-3.
V86-3, another 2,140-meter auto start. Favorite is number 2, Gustav Simoni. Looked good winning on comeback, really impressive. But there's that history of galloping. Several analysts point that out, making it seem a bit unreliable, a risky favorite.
Which naturally leads to number 6, Green Hills Dancer. Sounds like many think this one could, or maybe should, be the favorite.
Yeah, there's a strong case being made for Green Hills Dancer. Ran well last time, they're putting a Jankervan on, and the feeling is the competition might be a notch easier this time. Adds up to a pretty significant threat.
And then there's number 4, Lake the Snake, mentioned as potential value.
That's an interesting one. The trainer seems quite positive, suggesting the horse is ready to bounce back after a bit of an off patch. The feeling is it's maybe better than its current class suggests.
Okay. And for those looking a bit wider, number 8, Quattro Hollerid.
Quattro Hollerid, yeah. Despite drawing wide, put in a really strong effort 2 starts back. And this race, It might not be quite as tough as the last one faced. Could definitely surprise.
We also saw number 3, FBI, mentioned after a good win last time, though maybe prefers to come from behind.
Exactly. Impressive win, but the analysis suggests a stalking trip might suit it better than trying to dictate things up front.
All right, let's switch focus to V86-4 at Bollnäs, shorter distance here.
Yep, V86-4, 1,640 meters, auto start. And this one looks dominated, at least on paper, by number 3, Gigant Tider, the overwhelming favorite. The record is just, well, fantastic. Never finished outside the top 2, and at second place last time. Seems he was down to getting boxed in after giving up the lead, not a sign of fading form. The consensus is strong, likely takes the lead, likely wins.
Sounds like a potential banker for many system players then. Though, number 5, Trollbacken's Olav gets a mention for potential improvement.
That's right. Planned equipment changes there. You never know. Sometimes those adjustments can really wake a horse up. Worth keeping an eye on.
And number 8, Halt Adam, also mentioned for consistency and changes.
Holt Adam is usually pretty reliable, yeah. And again, equipment changes planned. Could help keep that good form going, maybe challenge for a place.
Okay, now from the long one. V86-5 back at Åby.
V86-5, the stayer race. 340 meters with a stand start. Number 2, Sunshine Eagle S is the slight favorite. Recent form with the Jankervan has been good, but several sources raise flags. No Jankervan this time, potential issues with the stand start, and just the extreme distance. That favoritism feels a little shaky.
Which seems to open the door for number 8, Imperator Am. Sounds like a strong candidate.
Very strong. Comes up often as perhaps the one who should be favorite. Finished well in its comeback over a long distance already, so stamina is proven. A major player here.
Number 9, Pingus is in the mix too, despite a layoff.
Yeah, had a break due to illness, but the expectation is that Pingus will be ready. Has a good record coming back from breaks, so definitely can't be ignored.
And what about number 3, Nosley Boko? Hearing positive things from the trainer.
Yes. Trainer comments seem quite upbeat about Nosley Boko's chances. They're putting protective gear on after a gallop last time, which suggests they think it can handle this distance if it behaves. Potential there.
Number 5, Last Joke, also keeps popping up. Maybe underrated.
Often is, yeah. But Last Joke is a solid horse. Has 2 recent races under its belt, so should be fit, and this kind of distance should suit.
And even with a handicap, number 11, Ferrari Sisu, gets a nod.
Starting 20 meters behind is tough, obviously. But Ferrari Sisu has class. If the race unfolds in a way that lets it get into contention without using too much energy early, it could still feature in the finish.
Okay, on to V86-6 at Bollnäs. This one has a Sport Trappa start.
Right, V86-6, 2,140 meters, auto start with the Sport Trappa. That means starting positions are based on earnings. Generally higher earners further out or behind. The favorite here is number 7, Chicken. Lots of talent, no question. But it's a comeback race, and drawing post 7 on the front line in a Sport Trappa isn't ideal.
So number 1, Zaxton, looks like a major challenger from the inside.
Absolutely. Has a couple of races now after a break, showed it can lead, and has good overall quality. That pole position in this kind of start is a huge advantage.
And number 5, Gates Hanover, making a seasonal debut but has some back class.
Definitely one to watch. Making its first start of the year, but based on past performances ran in a Breeders' Crown final, it clearly had the ability to be right there if ready off the layoff.
We also see number 11, Garth Vader, mentioned as possibly quick enough to lead.
Yeah, considered potentially very fast, where things break right early, could possibly grab the front.
And number 6, Night Art, just keeps running well.
Consistently good form for Night Art lately, yeah. Worth considering for combinations.
Okay, almost there. V86-7, back to Åby, shorter trip again.
V86-7, 1,640 meters, auto start. Number 4, Orsay Boko, is the favorite. Looked good in the comeback race. Good draw. Should have early speed. Likely aims for the front. Strong chance.
Now here's an interesting one. Number 12, Soulmate Pellini, mentioned as a potential long shot despite the draw.
Yeah, this is intriguing. The trainer apparently rates this horse very highly, thinks it has a lot of talent. Despite drawing way out in post 12, the suggestion is it might have the class to overcome it if the race pace suits. Definitely one for the long shot hunters.
And number 7, Chico Lane, known for speed.
A very quick starter, Chico Lane. Over this shorter 1,640-meter distance, if it blasts out and gets the lead, it can be very hard to pass.
Also, number 11, Alvina Roy, finished strongly last time.
Yes, showed a good late kick in its last race. Suggests it handles his distance well and could be flying late.
Right, final race, V86-8 at Bollnäs, Volt start.
V86-8, 2,140 meters, Volt start. The favorite is number 9, Hyboval. Been winning, Looks impressive.
Yeah.
But step up in class here. And there's a note about going back to shoes after galloping without them last time. Adds a little bit of uncertainty.
Which brings us to number 14, Bias. Seems like a very serious contender, maybe even the top pick for some.
Bias comes across really strongly in the analysis, yeah. Highlighted for high speed plus experience against tougher horses in Norway. The feeling is this might just be the strongest horse in the race. And starting right behind the front line in the second tier, post 14, a Volt start, can actually be a pretty good spot sometimes.
Okay. What about number 10, Sarte Petter? Expected to improve.
Yeah, strong horse. That was his first race back after 3 months last time out. Should be much sharper for this run. Don't underestimate it.
And an interesting long shot from the front line, number 3, Gigi Corv.
Gigi Corv, yeah. Can have some gait issues sometimes, but noted for being quite strong. If it behaves and gets away well from the front Volt, could be a factor of potentially good odds.
And a quick mention for number 5, Will Nick.
Capable 5-year-old Will Nick. Facing older horses here, but has shown ability.
So here's something else for you to think about. We've looked at form, equipment, draws, but what about race day itself? Think about how track conditions, maybe unexpected rain or a track playing faster or slower than usual, and how the drivers actually choose to race in the moment, those tactical decisions, how much could that change things? It's often those unpredictable elements, the ones not in the pre-race analysis, that can really shake up the results. Something to keep in mind.